Welcome back to Backspace Academy. In this lecture, we'll have a look at the different options that are available for running databases on AWS. We'll then have a look at a database example, and finally, we'll finish up with a hands-on lab where we'll be creating a database server on AWS and then remotely connecting in to that database. The Relational Database Service, or RDS for short, is a fully managed database service that makes it easy to launch database servers in the AWS cloud and scale them when required. The RDS service can launch servers for MySQL, including variations of the MySQL database engine with MariaDB and Amazon's own enterprise version of MySQL, Amazon Aurora. Standard PostgreSQL is also available as Amazon's Enterprise Aurora PostgreSQL. Microsoft SQL Server and Oracle are also available. Amazon DynamoDB is AWS's NoSQL database as a service. It's a serverless service like Amazon S3, and as such, you don't need to worry about the underlying infrastructure behind it. AWS takes care of everything for you, and it provides high-speed, extremely low-latency performance. Amazon Redshift is a fast, fully managed, petabyte-scale data warehouse that is based upon the PostgreSQL database engine. If you're looking for a big data storage solution, Redshift is perfect for this. Amazon Elasticache is an in-memory data store or cache in the cloud. It allows you to retrieve information from fast, fully managed in-memory caches instead of relying for slower disk-based databases. The AWS Database Migration Service orchestrates the migration of databases over to AWS easily and securely. It can also migrate data from one database engine type to another totally different database engine type. For example, you can use it to migrate from Oracle over to Amazon Aurora. Amazon Neptune is a fast, reliable, fully managed graph database service. It has a purpose-built, high-performance graph database engine optimized for storing billions of relationships and querying the graph with millisecond latency. So let's have a look at how we could use these database services. Let's say we have an on-site Oracle relational database, and we want to migrate that over to Amazon Aurora on the AWS cloud. The first thing we could do is to launch an RDS instance in our virtual private cloud. And remember, a VPC, it's our own private space within the AWS cloud, and no one can enter it without us allowing them to enter. We could use a database migration service to migrate that data in that on-site Oracle database over to a target RDS Amazon Aurora server. Now let's say our new database is becoming overwhelmed with requests for frequently accessed data, and we would like a high-speed way of accessing that frequently accessed data. And this is where Elasticache can help us. We can put an Elasticache node in front of that RDS instance, and that will cache our frequently accessed data. And because it's delivering that data from memory and it's not delivering it from a hard drive, it will be delivered with very low latency. And at the same time, the load on our database will be massively reduced. And any requests for anything that is not in the Elasticache will be simply forwarded to the RDS instance. And that way we have high-speed access to our frequently accessed data, while at the same time we can still access our less frequently accessed data directly from our RDS instance. Coming up next, we'll be doing a hands-on lab, so make sure that you download the Introduction to AWS lab notes that come with this course. We'll be launching a MySQL database instance, and then we'll be connecting remotely into that database instance.
Okay, so I'm in the AWS Management Console now. We go to Services, to the Database Services and RDS. Now that will take us into the RDS dashboard, but if we don't have any RDS instances created previously, then it will go into a welcome screen like this. So we're just going to go to the left-hand side here, click on Instances, and we're going to launch a DB instance. Now we have a number of options available for our database engine. We have Amazon Aurora, which, as we said previously, is AWS's MySQL Enterprise Class database. And that is not eligible on the free tier, so we're not going to use that for now. And we have the MySQL Community Edition, and again they've got the Amazon Aurora. In case you missed it previously, they've put it up there, but we're not going to use it because it costs us money. MariaDB, again, is a MySQL compatible database. And again, if you missed it, there we have Amazon Aurora as well, which we won't be selecting. PostgreSQL, Oracle, and Microsoft SQL Server. So to make sure that we don't get a bill at the end of the month, we're going to click on this checkbox here saying free tier eligible only. And there we can see Amazon Aurora is not eligible for the free tier. So we go into MySQL and we can see Amazon Aurora there as grayed out again. We can't select it, and we're going to select the MySQL Community Edition. And again, we make sure that we have this option here available. It says only show options that are eligible for the RDS free tier. We don't want to get a big bill at the end of the month. Now, if we scroll down, we have a number of options here. So the only one that we really need to be concerned with is the instance class. So we're going to use a DBT2 micro, which is a pretty small instance, and it's on the free tier. We don't have any other options for storage type other than SSD, where we're working on the free tier. So we leave everything there as it is. Now we go into the settings of our database server. So our database server needs to have a DB instance identifier. It needs to have a name. So I'm just going to call this one \intro-AWS. Now that needs to be unique within your AWS account for DB instances. Next, we're going to create a user, and I'm just going to call the master user admin, and I'll give that master user a password. Now that password has to be at least 8 characters long. So once we've completed that, we've put in our name of our database, we've put in our username for the master user of this database or this database server, and we've put in our master password and we've confirmed that password. We click on Next Step. Now, we don't need to configure any of these advanced settings for network and security. We just leave the default settings as they are, but as we get more into RDS and other services later on in the course, we'll be getting more involved in this sort of stuff. But for now, we just want to just get dip our toes in the water or so with AWS. Now we have an option to create a database on